Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kyusha here, and now, before we begin, let's give a brief little review. In the last part, we had a number of events happen. Now, Izuku was in Site 22 in Sweden, and he then was transported over to Site 19. Right now, him in redacted United States, and things were very interesting. Deku was brought in for a cross test between him and 682. Now, Deku met his parent, and 682's initial response was anger, seeing that the Foundation clearly did something with his DNA. However, Izuku, after the two got into a fight, showed off his abilities. And while 682 did like seeing this, he also showed much disdain. Deku later revealed the Foundation were not the ones to create him, but they did find him. And in 682, he expressed concern. He wants to meet the human who did this, who thought they could get away with this, because he wants to make them die very slowly. And it did mean quite a bit. After him and Deku were fighting for multiple times, he killed Izuku a number of times, while Izuku killed him a handful of times. Now, 682 entered a dormant state, after expressing to Izuku he never wanted to see the anomaly again. And Deku, after leaving that room and getting put back into a humanoid containment cell, he had a lot going on. The Foundation know he is an asset. They know a lot that he can do. His abilities are highly useful. He's neutralized two anomalies and shown to be able to live, taking on his own parent. In 682, instead of going on a rage state and killing members of the Foundation, this is one of the only tests that 682 has not broken out of. They could name a handful. And the ones where he has gotten out and killed Foundation staff members have resulted in multiple casualties. This is a rare instance. 682 actually went dormant in his own containment cell, and ended the test prematurely because he did not wish to continue it. And Izuku, later whenever he was showering, he had a lot going through his own mind. He already knew that the veil existed. He saw how a human person reacted to him when he took down two vehicles for the Chaos Insurgency and encountered a civilian. And Deku, he had an idea. He wanted to fit in. He wanted to seem more human. And after finally being able to meet this parent of his, after hearing so much about the anomaly, he decided to do one thing. He decided to use his shapeshifting capabilities to alter the way he looks. And Izuku currently looks mostly human. And the O5 Council, they have a lot going on. Right now, 682-2 is in Site 19. Right now, he's hidden many of his anomalous traits and asked them for one thing. And the O5 Council, they're not too sure. Because this anomaly has asked for a name. And it does mean quite a bit. And we do currently have a doctor, who they are going over quite a few things. Currently, Deku sitting there in a chair, as they do to ask him to smile. And Deku will going to do so. Him showing off a row of spiked teeth. Them staring at that, and then asking Izuku to open his mouth. Him going to do so, and showing off what looks to be a regular humanoid tongue. However, they should at least express about the abilities they have seen him use it for. Currently them going to turn, taking one of the hard candies they have in a bowl and tossing it up into the air. Izuku looking up at that and going to have it swat up into the air, currently slashing at it, catching it, and then going to pull it back to his mouth. Izuku turning to the doctor as he could just someone jot that down. Them turning back to Izuku and bring their hand out, asking Izuku for his own. And Deku will set it down as the person stares at his hand. It feels like skin, though, I guess his hands can pass for dry. maybe try. But still, there is a bit of an inconsistency. If you look a little closely, then no, those don't look like scales, but they could pass for eczema. Possibly, but the person gonna turn. Them letting go of Izuku's hand as Deku does still have it floating there in the air. Them turning back to the clipboard and writing a few things down. But we're gonna turn to Izuku and asking him about if he'd like to head out to lunch. Right now, the Foundation, they have a lot of people in the canteen. And if you'd like to go there, then he doesn't have to stay. They have much data to go over, and much to report back on. His file is certainly an interesting one to look into, especially because people in the 682 project believe looking into him might be their best way to look into the actual anomaly. And Deku does not turn, asking the doctor if the O5 have looked into what he asked. No, -2. The O5 Council haven't put it to a vote yet. I have not gotten any authorization during this entire test, nor have I gotten it before we have started. Though, I also, well, wanted to inform you. After lunch, someone will be coming to talk to you about a few things. And if it is okay with you, they will look into a lot. They want to evaluate you mentally. Mentally? Your head? See where you're at. Where your mind's at. They want to make sure that you are mentally as healthy as you are physically, which honestly is a concern that some people have had. I've heard about the containment breach that happened at Site 22. You killed a number of people and you used your camouflage abilities. Yes. Why is that? Want to be a part of the world. Yes, but any particular reason? Heard of it. I see. You're curious. You certainly are a child. Uh, sorry. I see. I'll have that written down then. Make a mental note of that in your file. It'll be sent up to the O5s and they'll review it. Though, never mind. Currently, they're going to bring their hand up and holding out the bowl of hard candies to Izuku, expressing, he can take another one if he would like to, but please leave the office now. There is food in the canteen. Currently, Deku bring his hand out. Him goes out grab the bowl as the person, they do bring their other hand up, talking about it. One. And Izuku will bring his hand inside. Him grabbing it as the person, they do consider someone put down the way Izuku reacted to that in the notes as well. Because clearly Izuku doesn't realize if he wanted to, he could have not only taken the bowl, but they would not have been able to stop him. So, he doesn't realize the powers he wields yet. And this is one thing the Foundation, they want to try and keep from him as long as possible, while he is in the quote-unquote infant god state. And the best way of saying it is like a reality bender. Deku is unaware as to what he could do with his powers. He is responsible. But what happens when that responsibility is wavered? What happens whenever he throws caution to the wind and actually uses his abilities to the extent they can be pushed to? 682 has repeatedly broken containment. He's repeatedly done things they cannot explain. Done things over and over again that have been proven challenging to the Foundation. And even people have themselves talked about how dangerous the anomaly is. They're lucky it stays in an acid bath for now. And that is one other thing. If Izuku wants to, he could run off from the Foundation and hide as long as he wanted to before they found him, before anyone can get to him. Hell, the Serpent's Hand could probably offer him a better deal. The, well, Chaos Insurgency, they would try to weaponize him, try and promise him everything he wants. Or there even is the GOC, which might either try to contain him or destroy him, or flat out try to make him a part of their organization. Promise him everything, give him nothing, and use him until Izuku figures out things go wrong. I mean, they work with the GOC on a number of occasions, on a number of anomalies. Even they're aware some of them can't be destroyed, they can only be contained. And that, it does mean quite a bit. Currently Izuku heading off, and there actually is in the cafeteria. Deku does want to sit there. And he actually is going to have somebody walk over and sit down. Currently, him looking up and seeing Dr. Clef, who just don't talk about it. So, how are things? Strange. I'm going to turn his head, seeing other people sit down. And currently Dr. Cleft would bring up his hand and set down his combat knife onto his tray. Currently, he's going to turn and see a man with green skin and covered in cactus protrusions, aka thorns. And Cactus Man, he was going to bring his hand up, talking about it. Hey, he noticed the reptilian dude, right? I mean, he is reptilian. He saw the way his eyes blinked when he walked by, or just the way they are in general. Listen, there's not really a lot of anomalies here that are outside of containment. So, he went to talk to him. Currently, Deku turning his head, as a man would sit down. Him sitting about 2 feet on the same bench from Izuku, talking about it. Yo, he's nice to meet him. Deku turning to the man, and the guy does sit there. For all intents and purposes, he is human. And Deku stares at him kind of confused. He's not wearing a lab coat. He's wearing regular clothes. And this means a bit. Right now, Dr. Cleft going to express, turning his head and bringing up an apple. Him beginning to peel it and cut out a slice with a knife. About how 507 might want to at least take another foot back. I mean, just for safety's sake. Right. I'm going to scoot a bit more to the right. And going to turn. Expressing. So, well, he just got back from a pretty interesting thing. So, do they want to hear about it? What happened? Oh, you know. Just the usual. I mean, I sort of jumped, I guess, if you want to call it that. Teleported. Anyway, I made my way to some sort of alternate universe, and things weren't too fun. They were a little crazy, but nothing I couldn't handle. I mean, this one was a little apocalyptic. Apocalyptic? What do you mean? Well, I just mean apocalyptic. You'll never believe this. I mean, just strange, crazy, some sort of anomaly went off, I guess. I don't know really how to put it. It just seemed like this entire place was destroyed. I mean, I found myself in Site 19, looked around, tried to find some data. There was no one there. Site 19 was abandoned, and anomalies were either roaming around or still locked up. It was a problem. Uh-huh. So what else happened? Not really too sure. Though, from what I can tell, it was some sort of, I don't even know how to describe it, eldritch thing going on. I guess that's the best way to describe it, I guess. these weird creatures, the fact that certain places gravity didn't work, a whole thing. I just sheltered in place for a while until I realized there's a few things here that could have hurt me. So I just found a vehicle and tried to leave, though I had to make my way mostly on foot. Currently, 507 continuing to talk about his latest escapade in another universe. And Deku, he does this on stare at this man, and there actually is he does this on turn, asking Izuku about his anomalous abilities, other than from what he can see being the eyes and the sharp teeth. And Deku, he goes on to express Dr. Cleft cutting him off, talking about it, currently bringing a slice of apple to his lips. He's 682-2, and he just tried to kill his parent. If you want to give him a term, dad. As far as they're aware, he has a mother, human, though the anomaly would be the other parent. Him biting into the apple slice as if he didn't just say what he said. And 507 isn't too sure how to take that information. And Deku talks about it. Him gonna open his mouth. After notice somebody, they do someone appear. Deku turning his head and looking at a older man. Listen, I'd like to butt in here a bit. Maybe talk to him. See how the boy is doing. 343, what are you doing here? I've made time. Listen, I make time for everyone whenever I can. And this one, who is on turn, expressing, is somebody who is not one of his own children. Yet, he'd like to see what the boy might be thinking. Especially because, unlike the quote unquote anomaly, he can somewhat see this one. And Deku does this on turn, staring at this older man, who gets one express, bringing his hand up. Would they like to come along? Hmm? I'm fine. Yeah, no, honestly, I'm a little good here. 507 bring his hand up, and currently going to express. He'd like to talk later. Maybe, figure a few things about his abilities. See a bit more about maybe being able to use them properly. And 343 will bring his hand up, expressing. They can talk a bit more about that later. He could try to explain them a bit and see what he could do there. Though his abilities are his own, and he would like him to understand how to use them. Though he has made one successful jump before. Yeah, I know, but I'd more or less like to know when I'm jumping. At least know what I'm jumping to. You know? I understand. I understand. It wasn't her. Bringing his hand up onto his shoulder, and currently the cafeteria does it disappear. Deku smelling the air and looking around. And he's outside. He won't stand. Turning back and seeing the foundation, it isn't the cafeteria, it's gone. Him turning back to the seat in the cafeteria. This bench is still here. And God, who doesn't sit down, expressing. He's been through quite a bit. He heard about the cross test. In fact, he did observe to see what he could, look into. He couldn't see the anomaly, but he can still see Izuku. Hmm? What? Sorry. Dash 2. You wish to have somebody to talk to. Understand a lot of things, though your experiences are a bit strange. Physically, you are around 16. However, mentally, you still perceive things a bit more around the age of 8, 9 years old. Miss J has helped you, but you do still lack proper experience. Miss J is a good teacher. So you have said. So you have said. Though life is also a very good teacher. Life, experiences, everything. Him pointing out, expressing. Not only is that the ocean, it's a place he liked to swim, isn't it? Go inside of. Feel the water on his skin. Move around. He liked the river. This is a lot like that, but it gets a lot bigger the farther out he goes. Along with it, there are creatures inside of it. Some who are peaceful, some who are not. He would have to figure that all out. He would allow him to experience that. As far as he's aware, while the two are still talking, no time will be passing. They can talk here for as long as he'd like. It's quite simple. He has the ability to do that. Though he does still lack many of his old abilities. Some he gave up whenever he created the very universe. I still don't understand. Yes. Understanding is harder to do, but changing is harder, Izuku. Izuku. Yes. Your name. I don't have a name. They will pick it for you. Though, they also do tell you that you are another thing. Another designation. Though, I do prefer the name I've said before. It suits you. One you may have been properly given if times were not so strange. You had a proper path, but you didn't. Much of this world has chaos. Much of it has things even I did not predict would come into play. And whenever they did, it was hard to witness. I try my best to help and make sure that my children are safe for the most part. However, I do not like to intervene whenever I have to. You do understand. Tell me, do you have a gap in your memory? Hmm? You're thinking, trying to figure it all out. I removed some time from your head, Izuku. About a year's worth. I saw you, and you were very strange, curious. I will not lie. I wish I did not have to. Though, you were very, let's just call it rowdy. Adamant to break containment. Though, at the same time, your progress has been good. I don't understand. There's a lot to understand. Even I have some trouble understanding some things. Though, there is a part of learning and growing up. Him standing up, walking over to the edge of the water, and stopping, drinking as a wave does almost touch his foot. Him turning to Izuku, and bring his hand up, motioning for him to join him on the beach. And Deku does not stand, walking over as he does point out towards the ocean. Trying to express to him, he has seen many things. If he had to define his own existence, it'd be like a drop of water. And this, being the ocean, it's how everything is. How he's perceiving everything. However, he want to turn, bring his hand up. He is special, more so than he does realize. There's a lot he'd like to tell him, but that will have to wait for whenever he is older, whenever he is more mentally stable. How about this? He could show him many things, help him understand how his mind is compared to his body. But, in doing so, he might also change. Change? Yes. Help you think. Learn more things for yourself. It will be integral. There is many things to come, many things that you may experience, though do understand. As times do change, people will as well. Some of it is not their fault. They are still learning. I've seen humanity change, for the better and for the worse. It has been sad to watch some of it. Though I've seen followers of Yildamoth, those of Mechane, and those of many other faiths. I've seen the gods build and die, born and die. Yet I still remain. It's certainly been a journey. Certainly been something. Though, whenever you do deal with your first proper XK, you'll understand. Now my turn. Bring his hand up. Give them another chance. Don't do what he will do. How about that? Though, he does need to understand. He will be in great distress. Time, it will be healed. But that, it's only a matter of time. Still don't know. How about you go for a swim? Clear your mind. Then we'll talk more. Though, you should return to Site 22. One of your friends is waiting for you. Deku a bit confused. However, the man does not motion forwards, for Izuku to step into the water, because this is something that he's wanted for a while. Since the Foundation, they have been, well, let's just say, quick to monitor closely. If they allow Izuku out into the ocean, or even into a river, he might not want to leave. May not want to leave the area. He'll be out there until they can offer him something better than what he wants. I mean, negotiate with him. He's gotten a swim in the pool before, of Site 19. The one they do use to not only test and train certain Foundation personnel, but to test certain anomalies. Though, that's a whole other story. And right now, Deku, he does spend some time out here. Currently, God, sitting down as Deku spends hours swimming in the ocean. Him diving underwater and even hunting a few things. Him growing gills and holding his breath until he did so. He likes it out here. Currently, him swimming around. And there actually is where Deku, he spent probably about 3 days swimming around and looking around the area. Him just happy. Before going to resurface. And there actually is where he's come walking out of the ocean. Currently him holding up a fish, talking about it. He found something to eat. And our God was to bring his newspaper down and look up. Before going to express to Izuku, that is a shark. Food? Yes, food. However, not everything is food. Yes, Izuku. Not everything is food. Though it could be, by your standards, made of food. Don't understand. Him bringing his hand up, and snapping his fingers. Currently a dog popping up in front of Izuku, along with a cat, a mouse, a ferret, and even a horse. Before going to express, these are other animals. Some he has been, well, let's just say, declined from being tested against to see his reactions from. He's been tested with live cows, even pigs, sheep, and goats. However, the Foundation, they feel like they already know how he would react to a rabbit. Something that is small. Something that shows signs of prey. Though, these animals here, these are ones the Foundation, they wanted to gauge his reaction against. In fact, this test is still going for approval. They go walking over to the dog. Him bending down and staring at it. it bring its head forwards and sniffing Izuku. Before goes on growl, and Deku would bring his hand up. Currently, 343 snapping his fingers, and the dog doesn't change its reactions. Currently, it bring its head forwards and licking Deku in the face. And Deku, he doesn't laugh. Him bring his hand up as 343 would go to express. This is a companion, a friend. It's simple. I'm going to walk over and bring his hand down. Run of the cat walking over and going to purr, expressing. Him bending down and beginning to scratch it behind the ear. About how there are animals out there that people do have. There is much he has yet to understand. They're friends. They're not creatures to hunt down and kill. All he has been taught is to kill. There's more to life than fighting. That he still has yet to understand fully. Though he's also been trying to teach that lesson to somebody else. But they have not gotten it through their head. They're not able to. And Deku turns. The man going to express. Right now he'll go back to Site 19. Then he'll request to go to Site 22. Talk to Rose and see how she is doing. The Druid needs somebody to talk to, especially because the anomaly she is well acquainted with and connected to, it is making her distressed. And the Foundation still have yet to crack that code. She's sitting there in a cell, and she's afraid, unable to voice her own complaints. And Deku stares at the man. Him trying to skate it across to Izuku over the time they talk about a few other things. He wants to try and teach Izuku in his own way the right thing. Izuku is life. One of his and one not of his. He'd at least try to make an effort. Show him the proper path. If he'll choose it, he'll choose it. He'll do what he thinks is right. If he doesn't, he's already said his piece. Done what he could. Tried to say something. Though hopefully things don't get out of hand. And he won't have to try this conversation again. That going through 343's mind. As right now, he just won't snap his fingers. The two reappearing back in the cafeteria. As the man would express to Izuku. He does hope that their time together talking does mean a bit. However, right now, he has a burger waiting for him with his name on it. I'm going to turn, and so he'll whistle a jolly little tune. And Deku, he looks around. Currently him a lot more surprised. As Dr. Collectors are going to talk about it. Yeah, he does that sometimes. Though it's usually best to understand. He's a reality bender. Still confused. About ferret. Ferret. Horse? Horse long face. Uh-huh. Certainly, buddy. Curly Cleft bring up another slice of apple. Talking about it. Him so waving the knife about how 343 probably showed him a few things. It'll take him a while to understand it, but hey, his door is always open. Hell, probably just ask him for a chat and he'll pop up next to you. He's basically a, well, better version of a search engine, I guess. Though, he's also, he wouldn't say Siri. Better? Way better than her. Though, he's a little concerning sometimes. Who is that turn? Looking at Cactus Man. Talking about it. Didn't he try talking to him? I did. And it was interesting. Right. Anyways, him guys won't stand up. Talking about it. He's gonna be in his office. If they need him, he's gonna be polishing his hand cannon. So, don't need him. Unless there's something that needs to be shot at. Then call him first. Page him. And wait a turn. Picking up his tray and going to put his knife back down in his waistband before going to walk off and whistle a bit. He himself wanting to get his ukulele. And Deku does still want to sit there. Him with a few things going through his head. And right now Deku, he even is going to put in that request. Site 19 has a lot of anomalies the Foundation want to test him against. However, whenever Zuko talks about wanting to go back to Site 22, the Foundation, they can still understand. I mean, Dr. Cleft has talked about needing to go over to Site 19, wanting to see the boy again and make sure he can stay within arm's reach, monitor him, make sure he knows how the kid's doing. If anyone close to him dies, they can't come back. And Izuku, he may not understand how death really does affect everybody else around him. He's never experienced loss. And as far as the Foundation is aware, they want to keep things that way. Especially because of how his mental state is as a child. Who knows how he might be 10 years from now? And it is a concern Dr. Cleft is going to bring up. And the worst part about it, it's one that makes sense. The worst kind. Yeah. When that happens, everyone might be fucked. First, Dr. Bright makes sense, then SCP-682 drops dead. Who knows what else the universe might throw at them? Hell. As far as they know, Abel might start taking up knitting. Cain might get violent, and hell. Maybe, just maybe, Dr. Cleft, he might put down the gun. Try and at least do things a bit more reasonably. Who really can say? They don't know what's going on. But as far as they're aware, they need to look into this further. And Deku, after he does get back to Site 22, he does begin helping out a bit more on the 8004 project. Because it's going to take them some time to properly research. Now, the amount of time that has currently passed has spanned at about 2 to 3 weeks. Whenever Izuku does a walk into a room, there actually is the Druid. Who does not turn? Deku bringing his hands up and talking about it. Currently her staring at him a bit confused, but looking at his eyes. And Deku talks about how he's here to express to her a few things. Him speaking in her language. And it does take her a second to realize this is the quote-unquote Monste, the one she encountered. He looks strange. He looks like one of the other people here, the humans. And Deku, he does wish to express to her a few other things. Talking with her about a lot. Talking with her about the forest more. And even a bit more about how her language might work. I mean, if she can teach him how to write in her language, he can make a cipher for the Foundation. He can help them understand and even start teaching her language to them. Then, certain personnel can actually talk with her. She can be mentally evaluated and see how things are. And the girl, while she has Izuku here, she has to at least ask him one request. If they can allow her to go out and interact with plant life. She doesn't like being here because this place lacks the green. It lacks, well, the aura, the feeling in the air. She likes it whenever she can feel the life around her, feel nature. It's nice. It makes her a lot more relaxed. And Deku, he does go to someone to talk about it. He can ask someone about that. He's not too sure. Though, whenever she did try to, quote-unquote, kill the strike force that she encountered, it had them worried. They think she might breach containment. And the girl will go express. She only acted under fear. And Deku, he doesn't really understand that part. I mean, he's acted under fear a few times, though he's had tactics. He doesn't understand true, total panic the way she'd had it. In his mind, he can understand a lapse of judgment because you mess up. But true panic, he's not too sure how to understand that one. It's a strange thing. And currently, Deku, he does go to express. Currently, him standing up from her cell, talking about it. He can ask the Foundation. However, they may take time to approve request. And she would just nod. Currently, her bring her hands up and going to make a gesture. Bring them together. And Deku, he stares at that a little confused. Currently, her looking up towards him as her eyes, they do somewhat glow green. And Deku stares back at her. Currently, her goes out to sit there as Deku does begin to somewhat see the glow manifest around her before it does go to dissipate. And currently to the Foundation, what they saw was Deku stand up, her put her hands together, and then Deku stared at her for a second before he turned and walked away. And right now the girl does sit there, a lot going through her mind as Izuku, he does leave the cell. Him talking to the Foundation about a few things. And right now they do so, I'm going to put in the request. Izuku can take the plant into her room, into her cell. If she acts up, or anything bad does happen, then it's simple. Izuku will already be there to deal with it. As far as they're aware, she thinks Izuku can be killed, so they can use that. If she acts out in a way and tries to attack him and kill him, then it's simple. They torch the plant, take away the things to take care of plants, and make sure that she can understand one thing. If she doesn't comply, they won't comply with her. Her request will not be met, and she'll be stuck here in a concrete room while they try and study what used to be her home. And right now, Deku, he doesn't understand this. In the Foundation, they do begin their own preparations. Currently, the O5 Council putting a few things up to a vote. With that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed, and have an amazing day. I'll catch you guys in the next part.